and welcome to a special edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm John Webster, and today we have a absolute positively special guest. With us today, we have Coach Mike Sharrieff of Hayden Johnson Middle School. Coach Mike,
Yes,
thanks for
sir.
coming on the show today, man.
Thank you for the invite, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. Been hearing a lot of good things about you. And I tell you, I've been telling John Pitt and I've been telling Gary how excited I am to have you on the show. And to have you here today is my absolute honor. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Coach, what I normally do with these interviews, I started off, I talk to people that know the person I'm interviewing, and I want to get their opinion. Now, I didn't tell you this. Now, I didn't find anything bad, so I don't want you to think it's getting ready to be like CNN or anything like that. So I'm not going to be any bad surprises.
So I
But
don't have to push exit then, right?
no, but let me just share a few things with you. Some people that have said things about you.
Okay.
In our warm up to the show, you mentioned Greg Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I told Greg Clark that I was going to interview you. Smile comes across his face. Words that he said, great coach, but an even better person. That's Greg Clark. Michael Williams. He says expectations and results are exemplary, outstanding with youth development, and he is unique, meaning you are unique because of the standards you have set and you require of these youth to be successful and to be in your program. Richard Miles, Minor Football League, Washington Chiefs. I see that big smile on your face. Miles says, great coach, totally vested in the youth, both on the field and in the classroom and the community. Overall, great guy, well respected by the community, his peers, coaches, residents, and parents. This next one, simply one of the best basketball coaches, not only in the city, but in the DMV. Rob Nickens.
Wow.
Rob says, Coach Mike is the heart and soul of Hayden Johnson Middle School and the Southeast community. Been 20 plus years in the community. He says that you are the GOAT, greatest of all time for youth in urban and inner city settings. He says you are one of a select few that talks the talk and walks the walk. You are a champion on and off the field. You save kids and you deal with them with their well-being first, their academics second, and their athletics third. You are always willing and able to go in the trenches to get the kids and to work with the kids. Does not matter to you the time of day, the area, you're going to get the job done. He says you easily could have been a high school or college head coach, but you choose to stay at Hayden Johnson, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. Your players, you get them to believe in themselves. Even the kids that come and they may not have as much talent as some others, you work with them and you get them to believe in your system and how it is done, and they achieve success just like everybody else. Then he mentioned this one as well. Unfortunately, he shared with me, you had a heart attack.
Yes, sir.
But he also said, you're tough as nails. You were back at it in 3 months. You didn't want to stay home. You got right, but the community means so much to you. You had to get back on that bike and get back in it.
Yep.
I commend you for that one, man. You just simply one of the best. But that's what a few people had to say about you. And like I said, It wasn't like CNN. Nothing has to be bleeped out. It was all good stuff, man. All good stuff.
So I got to cash app all these guys now, huh?
Well, look, we'll make sure we don't tell them when the show come on. You can keep that money in your pocket.
I keep it for a little while longer. Okay. Now, I appreciate those words, especially from those group of guys, man, because I respect them just as much as they respect me. And, you know, I try to emulate some of the things that those guys do and have done.
Well, it's obvious that you have. Let me ask you this, man. How long have you been at Hayden Johnson, and how long have you been coaching?
I've been at Johnson 21 years.
Okay.
I walked in Johnson. I thought it would be for 1 year, and I never left.
Wow.
I told my friend at the time that I would do 1 year, maybe 2 at the most, and then I was gone. And I just never left. I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with the school. And I couldn't see myself pulling away because the longer I stayed, it was always somewhere that I knew the kids could come back to no matter what they were going through. And if they needed to talk or needed some just to be comfortable for a little while or needed something to eat or whatever, they could come back, knock on my side door, and they knew 10, 11 o'clock at night, Coach Mike going to be in there. And they would walk up and say, hey, Coach, this is going on. I just wanted to come say, hey, well, I need some advice on this. And I said, you know what? I can't leave. This is where I belong. So as I, over the time and the more successful we became, of course, opportunities came for me to leave. And I would be not telling the truth if I didn't think about it. Who wouldn't think about it, right? But the more I got vested into it and the more the community got vested into what we were doing and what we visualized we could become, it was no reason to leave. And then I finally understood that there's appointments and there's anointments, and I was anointed as the head football coach at Johnson. And I think that's what God's going to hold me accountable for. What I do with this community, these kids in this particular setting, how do I go about this business?
Coach, give me that one more time. You said it was anointed, and what else? Now give it to me one more time.
There are anointments and there are appointments,
Okay.
And I was anointed as the head coach at Johnson Middle School.
Okay.
I wasn't appointed. I was anointed. This is where God plans for me to finish up and to do everything that I'm doing. This is a God's blessing. Excuse me. So I don't even let outside interest distract me any longer.
Good. Now you've been over there 21 years. Has that been your entire coaching career at Hayden Johnson?
I've been coaching 35 years.
What got you involved in coaching?
I thought about this the other day, and I didn't even see these questions when when I was thinking about this. There was a guy named Pat Murphy that ran Bladensburg Boys and Girls Club, and he ran Bladensburg High School for a few years. I don't know if you remember Pat Murphy.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And I never got a chance to work with Pat. I watched him. I wasn't even coaching. I just watched him. And I was amazed of how passionate he was with the Bladensburg community and how he was respected. And I kept watching Pat, and I said I wanted to coach with him. At the time, I was in the Marine Corps, and I said I want to coach, but I could never find the time to coach with him. I had no desire to coach, but I don't know how. I don't even remember when I met Pat Murphy. It had to have been around 1986 when I met him. Because being from the Hyattsville area, people know people. And I saw Pat Murphy. I said, man, this man is very respected. Mm-hmm. And I got to talk to him a few times. I hope he's still doing well. I hope he's, still with us. But I had so much respect for him from afar because he was so respected by everybody. He was so passionate about it, and some kids came to me from the Glen Arden community that I grew up in. And they were like, hey, we need a football coach. I said, I don't know nothing about coaching football, man. Well, neither does our coach. so I went to practice that day, and that's when it started for me.
Wow. So it was 14 years doing that before you got started. So you started in Boys and Girls Club? Is that where you started at?
I was in Boys and Girls Club, and then I went to Anacostia with Coach Willie Stewart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. I went with Coach Stu because by this time I was convinced that I was going to be a coach now. I was going to coach football. So I went with Coach Stewart over Anacostia. And who's a better person to learn the inner city from than Willie Stewart? So he taught me everything about the inner city, especially Southeast. You know, the three biggest personalities in Southeast, in my opinion, have always been, of course, our late mayor, the pastor over here at the church over in Southeast. What's his name? Wilson? Yeah, Pastor.
Yeah, yep.
Willie Wilson, right?
Willie Wilson.
And then Coach Stewart. In no particular order, they're the most respected people in Ward 8. So, you know, being around Coach Stu taught me a lot about, you know, coaching in the inner city and dealing with the guys from our community. And he gave me his blessings. And I still have a ton of respect for Coach Stewart.
And he had a tremendous program. He had some good ball players come through there.
Heck of a ball players. The talent we had back in the 90s, I'd never seen anything like that. And then I went over to Suitland High School with the late Coach Lynch. Me and Lynch.
Mickey Lynch.
Yeah, we grew up together.
Okay.
Yeah, we both, you know, we grew up together. So that was one of my best friends growing up, man. And I spent a couple of years over there with him at Suitland. And then I thought I was done coaching. I thought I was finished. And then I got the call from Johnson. So,
man, that's quite a story. You've been with Nick Lynch, you've been with Coach Stu, you've been with Pat Murphy, and now you're Hayden Johnson. Man, that's unreal. That's unreal. Yeah. That is unreal. Hey, now, first, let me back up and say this to you. Congratulations on winning the middle school championship.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you. How many is that for you now? We've
been to 10. We won 8.
It's not a bad record.
No, it's not bad at all. I lost 2. The kids didn't lose them. I lost them.
I totally understand. I totally get it.
I lost.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Hey, with the game that you won this year, what was the difference? What helped you win that game? What was the turning point in that game?
I think that we had a formidable opponent that night. We had played him early in the season, and of course, teams get better, and it's hard to get kids amped up to beat somebody twice. We beat them pretty good the first time we played them. But I think we do a lot of things differently from everybody else. We don't really consider ourselves a middle school football program. We're like a unicorn. If you believe in unicorns, they're beautiful and they're unique in everything that's about them. So, you know, our whole program is set up differently from everybody else. Our kids don't play for other teams. They just play for us. So they're very locked into what we do. I think that's one of the things that got us through this whole entire season, especially in that game, because the team we ended up playing, Brooklyn, they had a very talented team, if not just as talented as we are. But our kids we're so locked in that, you know, we're able to do so much with them as far as preparation and all the phases of the game and especially the details. We don't turn the ball over. We don't beat ourselves. We don't make a lot of mistakes. We make mistakes, but they're not game-causing mistakes. You know, we don't play the game afraid not to throw an interception or not to turn the ball over, but we don't turn the ball over. And I think that helped us as much. But then at the same time, we believe in what we call the perfect alignment. And that's parents, school, players, and coaches all being on the same page all the time, thinking and saying the same thing. And I think that's the strongest part of our program. And I got some tremendous. I would be selling my program short if I didn't talk about the value of my assistant coaches and my school administration and my parents. My parents are amazing. My principal and school administration are amazing. My coaches, I have 12 of them, and those men are amazing. You know, we talked about me having a heart attack and being gone those 3 months. And, you know, it was a bad heart attack. I was gone. I wasn't supposed to be here. And I thank God every day that he left me here to do what I love doing. But those guys did so much work to hold the program together those 3 months that I was out, you know, and they really showed me their worth during that time. Because that's the first time I've ever missed practice in 35 years. I've never missed a practice or been late to practice. So for me to be home, I don't know, that might have been worse than the heart attack, me sitting home that whole time.
You at home and you driving everybody crazy, weren't you?
They put me out the house. Just go, man, just go. Yep.
I totally get it. I totally understand. You mentioned something. You mentioned the perfect alignment. Well, how do you make that happen? That, you know, you hear these coaches say that sometimes they don't want to deal with parents, the parents cause them issues, or whatever. But you're saying it was the perfect alignment. It's the administration, it's the parents, everybody working together. How do you make that happen?
That's a great question because when I hear people, in sports, you hear so many cliches and slogans, but people can't really tell you, well, what's the process to make that happen? It sounds good, but how? Right? For me, when you decide whatever makes your alignment perfect in your program, you have to do a lot, whatever it takes to make it happen. So what I do, one thing that we do over at Johnson is I meet with my school administration once a month. I get it. Then in their world, of course, the school is 90% of everything, and then sports is 10%, and football maybe 5% of 10%. So I don't bombard them with sports, but I get that half hour that I need once a month, and I make sure that what I'm thinking and what they're thinking all lines up, and what they're expecting, what I expect lines up, because I don't want to overstep my boundary, and I don't want to undeliver on their expectations. Okay. And then when I say, hey, if this is what we're going after, what is the school going to do to support us in this? Okay. And then we'll meet where either it's totally supported or it's like, we can support this much of it, coach, and you got to do the rest. But it's always more yeses than it is nos. And with parents, I meet with them once a month starting in February. So when a parent comes in our program, we meet the second Wednesday of the month at 6 o'clock until football season starts. So that's 8-9 months that I'm meeting with those parents when we first start workouts in the off season. The reason why I do Wednesdays at 6, that's game day, and that's game time. So I'm getting them acclimated to I got to be somewhere Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and I clearly go with them through what the expectations of the program are, because they're at that same age, they're youth age kids, youth ball age kids, and they come from being teen moms or running concessions. They're so involved that when they come into school, well, schools are structured a little differently. You can be involved, and we want to encourage your involvement, but it's going to be a little bit more different than what you were doing on Saturdays in the youth world. I don't know why coaches don't want to deal with parents. I think that's the biggest mistake in the world. I embrace the parents. I want them involved. I want them to understand you can come to practice, you can watch practice, but you're going to watch from here. Okay. You can talk to the kids, but you're going to talk to them after practice, not during my practice. I got 2.5 hours. I need their undivided attention. Okay. And my parents are very respectful of that. But then we encourage our parents to also join organizations inside our school, parent-teacher organization, our football booster group in our community service. So it gives them some place and some role in our program. And then it's my coaches, just making sure everybody's lined up. I do one-on-ones with my players once a month, and then I do a one-on-one like in May with the parent and the kid, just making sure we're all lined up.
Wow. That's really good. That's excellent. Now, let me ask you this with the parents and everything and with the administration. You showed me how you have the parents involved. You start them early in the school year so they get acclimated to your practices and everything. How do you make sure that the administration and the teachers and everybody has a buy-in to what you're doing with your football program?
A couple of the teachers actually work as academic advisors for us. So
Okay.
I have one main teacher that works as my academic coordinator, because teachers talk better to teachers than teachers talk to coaches. So, I'm a coach, so I'm going to look at it one way, and you're an educator. You're going to see it a totally different way. But I just want to make sure that expectation-wise, we're all aligned up alike. So when it comes to study hall and tutorial on Saturday school, my teachers handle that. My academic coordinator will tell me on Friday, hey, coach, this kid has to go to Saturday school. So, I compile a list of kids to go to Saturday school on Saturday, or she'll tell me, this kid got a D, coach. He's in academic probation. Well, F, I'm sorry, takes an F. He got an F, this progress report, because we get progress reports every 2 weeks. And this kid's in academic probation, and he can't play this Wednesday. And I got to respect that, so that gives them respect for what we do, because I'm respecting her decision to pull him. I don't pull him. She does. But I deliver the news, so I'm the bad guy. Okay. And I'm fine with that. That's my role. Right. That's my role. But yeah, because to play for us, you have to have a 3.0 to play for us. So
3.0.
3.0. You can't play without 3.0.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now you mentioned something. You said Saturday school. What is Saturday school?
So if we got kids that got a C, C says to me, go see what's going on in the classroom. So when I see a C, I go find out what's going on. And anybody with the C, because you have to have a 3.0, is required to go to Saturday school. Now, when you go to Saturday school, we get all the work you either neglected to finish, or you need to do some work over again, or you want some extra credit work. We do it on We do it at Saturday school.
So you got to have a certain grade point average. You got to have at least you got to have more than a C to go to Saturday school. Is that what you're saying?
To avoid Saturday school, you have to have no C's.
To avoid Saturday school, you have to have no C's.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are kids with B's that go to Saturday school just because they want to get an A, because our kids are so competitive. But yeah, if you got a C, you're going to Saturday school. C, D's, and F, you're going to Saturday school for sure.
I guess with me, when I was in school, I probably would have needed Saturday and Sunday school.
For you and me both. Yep.
But you mentioned they have to have a 3.0 average in order to play for you.
Yep.
If I may ask, and you don't have to answer this, what's your team GPA?
3.6.
Get out of here. On a 4.0 scale?
Yep. 3.6.
Coach, that's excellent.
Thank you.
You're getting it done not only on the field, you're getting it done in the classroom. And like I said, these guys that mentioned you earlier, you're getting it done both places, man. That says a lot, man.
Because we tell the kids, man, I don't care what you dream about. All of us at your age, when we were 11 through 14, we had a dream of doing something. And, coaches and educators are part of the dream making process, right? Mm-hmm. So I know that if you're telling me you want to go to Oregon or Maryland or Penn State or Alabama, wherever it is you want to go, well, you can't go without grades, okay? So let's get the foundational stuff in place now to make sure you understand the importance of academics. I got you at the age where your brain and your personality and all that stuff is starting to mold and form, and you're starting to make decisions about who you're going to be in this world. So let me make sure you understand the right way about going about things. And if you can chase this 4.0 and you can get grades that schools can't say no to, you can go to any of those schools you said you wanted to go to, right? Now, I'm not saying you'll play football for them, but you can go to any of those schools you want to go to if you got a 4.0 GPA, and that's what we chase every day. We chase the 4.0.
20 years, you've been in 10 championship games, you've won 8, you got a 3.6 GPA for cumulative for the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
What schools are coming to look at your kids? What high schools are they going to?
Wow. We tried something new yesterday because we get so many, our parents are overwhelmed. We get so many high schools. So we had a meet and greet last night. We had 10 high schools last night. They all got 30 minutes to present to our parents and to our kids. Last night we had Dunbar, Woodson, Bishop McNamara, Friendship Collegiate. Friday night, tomorrow night, we got St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore. We got Rock Creek Christian Academy. Our kids are being offered scholarship opportunity, tuition paid opportunities at St. John's. We got 2 going to St. John's. We got 2 going to Gonzaga. So our kids are getting incredible opportunities. And that's what this is all about. My trophies are them. Those are my trophies. My kids are my trophies.
And what colleges have your kids gone on to? What are some of the colleges that?
Oh, wow. We've got University of Maryland, Penn State, University of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Oh, let me think. Kansas, Naval Academy, Virginia Tech. They've gone everywhere.
Wow. How about this? Can you share with me a couple of your kids who have gone on and been successful in college, in high school and college, and have they gone on to play on Sundays as well?
Oh, yeah. Irvin Gray played for me in 2009. He left me, went to Dunbar for 1 year, and then he left Dunbar to go to Friendship Collegiate. He played at Maryland and got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now he's with the Tennessee Titans. Vaughn Taylor played with me. He went to Kansas and he transferred to Moorhead. He actually was Defensive Player of the Year, All-American in college. He also is the all-time leading single season sack leader for DC, the DC area. Vaughn's now in the USFL. And then we had James Luter played at Carolina, ended up going to the Carolina Panthers, and Josh Stover went to Kent State. He ended up playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we've had a few guys make it. And I think just by the way we've improved the program over the last 5 or 6 seasons, I'm looking at I'll say since 2017, the group of kids we've had since 2017, 2018, there's going to be kids that's come out of these next couple of classes that are going to do some tremendous things at the collegiate level.
And I'm listening to you talk. I'm listening to you share. These kids still come back to see you even after they've left, don't they?
I can call them right now. They'll answer on the first ring.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. How about this one? Kid that played for you, successful, but did not play NFL, but is successful in business, successful in life. You got a couple of those as well?
I got a bunch of guys, man, that are police officers. Didn't play college ball, wasn't really that, I don't want to say that they could in high school because they may see this interview, but, just it wasn't in the cards for them to advance past high school. And they became police officers, firefighters, just good guys overall. And, I love all my dudes, man, but I'm just as proud of them, if not prouder, than the guys who end up going to the National Football League, because they could have chose by staying here and not getting an opportunity to leave the DMV to do something that would have negated all that. And they just didn't. They chose to stay. And they always come back and say, it's the things that you told us, the things that you guys instilled in us that kept me out of harm's way, and they're my biggest supporters, to be honest with you.
Wow. You are also the athletic director at Hayden Johnson, correct?
Yep.
Is there any time that athletic director Mike Sharrieff is in disagreement with Coach Mike Sharrieff?
I think sometimes Coach Mike Sharrieff puts pressure on all the other coaches that coach at Johnson. And that puts the athletic director in a kind of awkward situation, because I want to go say, do this. Why aren't you doing it this way? And I just don't do it. And the AD got to tell Coach Mike Sharrieff, this is not your season nor your sport, and you probably don't know what the hell you're talking about. So go sit down. So
So the AD sometimes has to calm the coach down sometimes.
Calm the coach down. Go sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. You know nothing about basketball, so go sit down.
What are some of the accomplishments that you have had at Hayden Johnson?
Gatorade
that you're proud of. I mean, I'm quite sure you're proud of all of them, but share some of your accomplishments.
Personally, Gatorade Coach of the Year.
Okay.
15 times I've been voted Coach of the Year. Developing an athletic program that's very competitive. I would probably say if we're not the best athletic program in the city, we're top 3 or 4 in the city. All our teams compete for playoffs and championships. Our kids are getting tremendous opportunities through our entire athletic program, not just football. We got girls playing basketball at the collegiate level, Division I, Power 5. They come from Southeast where there is no basketball in Southeast for young ladies, and they don't have the resources to go play AAU. But in our gym, they get better and they get opportunities to go to great high schools and go to college. Our wrestling team has never lost. We're 48-0 in wrestling. Just stuff like that, man. I mean, I'm just very proud of what we've become and how we're giving these kids at 13 years old who normally would not talk about going to college. Now they're not just talking about it, they're planning on it. They're taking the steps to go to college. And also, I got inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2015. So I'm proud of that as well.
You said like, oh, by the way, I got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Congratulations to you. That's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your athletic program. You mentioned wrestling. You mentioned girls basketball, boys basketball, football. What other sports programs do you have at Hayden Johnson?
Volleyball, cheerleaders, archery, golf, baseball, softball, track, indoor, outdoor track. And we've been to championship in every one of those sports the last 3 or 4 years. Yep. Every one of them.
That's saying something.
And we don't have a large enrollment. We only have 300 kids. So our kids, at Johnson, you have to play 3 sports. You're at Johnson, you play a sport. And, we're very competitive. The coaches, the programs are very competitive. It's a healthy competition. And, like basketball's trying to outdo football right now. And then next week, wrestling start. And wrestling, hey, no, we're 48. No, we're the next best program in the building. So it's very competitive. But at the end of the day, our kids get some great opportunities. And so do our coaches. We have coaches that leave Johnson Middle School as a football coach and get college opportunities. I got 3 guys that coach college ball, and they just came from Johnson. And that's just amazing to me that these guys are getting opportunities from middle school to get college jobs.
Wow. The pandemic, 2020, that was affected the whole world.
Yep.
What effect did it have on you all at Hayden Johnson? And how did you get your program going again when people started coming back into the buildings and the pandemic started getting a little bit better? So how did you deal with that?
I remember exactly how it happened and when it happened. We were in a clinic in Northern Virginia. It was the second weekend of March. And when we came back, we were heavily in our off season. We were excited. We had about 70 kids working out. We were very excited about the 2020 team we had. And then it got shut down abruptly. And we thought we would see the kids in a couple of weeks, and then we know how that turned out. But we never stopped. So when the Zoom format came available, we stayed in Zoom. We had meetings every day, all day long in Zoom. We had position meetings. We had coaches meetings. We had offense, defense, special teams meetings. We had study hall through Zoom. And we never stopped. And when we came out, we were very prepared. And I used the Redskins analogy. I told my coaches, I said, some of you guys may not remember, but when the Redskins won the Super Bowl during the strike season, it was because Bobby Beathard and Joe Gibbs were more prepared than everybody else in the NFL. They took that time to properly assemble a roster, and they were more prepared than everybody else. So we're going to follow that same format. We're going to be more prepared than everybody else. And when they came on and said, you guys can go back to work, everything they were asking for as far as safety protocols, we had all the protocols in place. We had everything in order until we could return back to play. But we met consistently. And some great things came out of those meetings. And we had meetings that sometimes went to 1 o'clock in the morning, film study, and we were very prepared coming out of that pandemic.
In your opinion, what do you think makes a good athletic director and makes a good coach?
I think for a good athlete, well, I'm going to answer the first part. Good athletic director, you have to be a leader of people. You have to understand that it's a position of leadership. And in leadership, you got 2 types of leaders. And I'm a servant leader. I don't say, do this. Hey, how can I help you do this? What do you need from me? So I think that's number one, being a great leader and caring about your people, and letting them know you care about them. And being a football coach, I've always said a great coach has 4 things. And of course, football IQ has got to be in the mix, but you got to have passion, energy, great work ethics, and committed time. If you got those 4 pieces, you can be a pretty good football coach. Because with those 4 pieces, you'll get better as far as the football IQ is concerned. But you got to have the work ethics, the passion, the committed energy, and the committed time. It takes time to become a good coach. You just can't. Like I said again, these kids have dreams, and we're part of the dream process. You've got to have the time to help them develop into what they want to become.
So what do you think would be your greatest joy that you have achieved as a coach and an athletic director?
This year, football, we were voted the #1 middle school football team in the country. And I think that was something we had said we were going to do back in 2016. I was at a clinic, and I was talking to a coach. I hope he doesn't mind me saying his name, Gabe Infante. He was at St. Joseph's Prep. He's now at Penn State, and I became a great fan of Gabe. I told you I love coaches. So I asked Gabe, I said, hey, how'd you make St. Joseph's Prep into a powerhouse? He said, don't lose. I said, okay, then that, again, that was his answer. That sounds real simple, but I took it back to my coach and said, okay, Gabe said we can't lose. So you guys are going to tell me how we're not going to lose a game. And we've won 52 straight since 2016. Okay. And
52 straight?
52 straight wins. We've won 158 games and 24 losses since I've been at Johnson, but we won 52 straight since 2016.
Get out of here. So your championship that you just got a few weeks back, what was that? That was the third in a row?
Third. Fourth? We've been to 5 minus the pandemic year. We've won three in a row.
Wow.
Yep.
The Hayden Johnson Panthers Express. I got it.
Yep.
What would you say would be your vision for next season for Hayden Johnson Middle School?
Our vision, we just had a meeting on Sunday, and we actually had a meeting. People always, laugh about it, but we work our butts off. And we had a meeting the night we won the championship that lasted about 1 o'clock in the morning. And then we met this past Sunday because I gave them some time to think about the stuff we talked about in that meeting we had the night after we won. And I think our biggest goal is to be better than we were this year. That's our challenge, to be better than what we were this year. We want to practice better. We want to prepare better. We want to develop our guys better. I want to coach my coaches better. We just want to be better. Our competition is us. We want to be better than we were in 2022.
Let me ask you, holidays are coming up. What do the Christmas holidays mean to Coach Mike Sharrieff? What kinds of things are you looking forward to doing over the holidays?
Well, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a girl dad. Okay.
Okay.
So my daughter will be home from school. She attends Spelman. It's her last year. So I can't wait till she gets home. Then, we'll do the holiday thing. Then I'm still working. So that's going to be what I do. We got Christmas tournaments coming up, but yeah, to spend a little bit of time, to reflect. I thank God for being here. When I think about that day in March when I had the heart attack, your life is running across, flashing before your eyes. And I'm really thinking, I'm not going to be here. When I had the heart attack, my wife and daughter were in the Bahamas. And I called them that as I was going through the heart attack to say goodbye to them because I was dying. And I called them to tell them goodbye. And, when I made it through and I knew I would be okay, I thank God every day. So I look forward to things that I might have took a little bit for granted. I look forward to it now. Like I'm waiting to put the Christmas tree up and the wrap gift, stuff that I normally don't do. I'm looking forward to doing that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep.
And what I'll also do, I'll invite you to come eat with me, and I just make a pig out of myself with all the food I eat. So
I told you start me out with the desserts, man. Start me with the desserts, man.
You ain't said nothing but a word, Coach. You ain't said nothing but a word. Do you want to start? What do you want to start with? The apple pie, the red velvet cake, the cherry pie?
Let's do it all at the same
time. What do you want to start with?
Do it all at the same time.
Final question for you, Coach. Final question. What would you tell a youth who is interested in being a student athlete at Hayden Johnson? What would you tell them?
You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to work harder than you ever worked in your life. And you're going to be coached by people who you don't know when you meet them, they already love you. You're going to be coached by people who genuinely love you. And this relationship is going to last for the rest of your life.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I don't know where the time goes. I know it's a fast-moving show that we have here. I could sit underneath a tree and talk to you all day and night, Coach Mike. It has been my absolute positive honor to have you on the Daily Deuce and to talk to you. I've heard so many wonderful things about you, and doggone it, you ain't disappoint, man. It has been a great time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And promise me one thing, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Promise me you'll come back to the Daily Deuce.
As soon as you give me the call, I'm on. Trust me.
Thank you. God
But you got to do me and Rob Nichols together, though. That's going to be a good show.
You got it. You got it. We will make that happen. And I will tell him you said that.
Yep, that'd be a great show.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Great guest today, Coach Mike Sharrieff of the Hayden Johnson Panthers. Thank you for seeing us today, and we'll see you all again next week with some more sports. Take care. We'll see you.